Yeah, hello all. Thanks for joining. Just give me 2 minutes, okay? Let's let people join and we'll start the session. Can you guys hear me? Please confirm in the chat. Let me know if you guys can see my screen. Unfortunately, there is no screen pause in Zoho, so I need to unshare and reshare sometimes. So please bear with me. It's not my system's fault. So Zoho doesn't have, unfortunately, the screen pause. So I need to always see here. Okay. Yeah, can you guys see the screen? Anyone? All right, so let's start the session. So today is a demo session, by the way. So yeah, all right. So welcome to Linux Administrator RHCSA session, and this is the batch 444. And this is not my first batch, by the way. So this is almost like 30th batch, I think, with Logic Apps. So yeah. All right. So the support email. So I'll be again posting this email in the chat later. We'll come back to that. And this banner also is here at the last. A general information about the session is the first 3 sessions will be for free, means the demo sessions. And from the fourth session, it will be only for the paid candidates. Okay. And the first 2 sessions recording will be uploaded in the YouTube channel. And I'll be sending the YouTube channel's link. So please follow that. And yeah, this session is also recorded. Okay. And that will be uploaded there. From the day 3 recording only will be available for the paid candidates. Obviously, you can join, but the recording won't be available for free. It will be only for the paid candidates from the day 3. Okay, so please don't do any batch shifting or there is no refund either. So please do reach out to support if you have any query related to that. Okay, and the session, anything is updated in this WhatsApp community. I'll be sending this um, here. So you see, click on join chat. If you are using mobile, you can simply click on this link. It should auto redirect to your WhatsApp, and it will add join to that community channel. What is that, or why you need to be in specifically this one is if let's say I'm not well or if I'm not available on that particular day, it will be uploaded only or updated only here. No, not anywhere else. There won't be any email and all. So please do join this WhatsApp channel. Okay. So yeah, and the sessions, recording, notes, everything will be available in the Graphy. So we are using Graphy as a portal, the LMS portal. I'll be showing you that as well. And please do contact the support team from Monday to Saturday between the business hours like 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Okay. The support email is support@logiclabstech.com. And yeah, please do. Okay, let me copy this. So these are all the support contacts. So please do contact them if you have any queries, anything. So during our session, or let's say you join the batch, if you have a technical doubt, also you can reach out to them. Then they will connect it with me. Okay, so we can figure it out. But first, you need to reach out to them. Okay, all right. So these are all the social media links. So this is the official site. Let me go here and click on courses, and you see the batch. Okay. So not only this, there is a lot of courses you can go through, and concurrently it is running. Okay, so yeah, and even the previous batches also is available as a recording. Fine. So this is the website, Telegram group, all the social media groups and links are there. So let's open the YouTube channel quickly. Yeah. So videos, and here you see the first two sessions. So today's session will be uploaded here. So you can even see the previous recordings. Okay, so my previous batches like this. Okay, so old recordings. Just get a understanding like how my training will be, and it will be purely practical. Basically, first few sessions it will be theory part, which mandatory theory one. So you must go through that. After that, let's say from day 4 or 5, it will be purely practical, and our course is basically tailored for RHCSA. So that's the thing. Okay, so see how many joined. Okay, we have ample amount of people. So yeah, for the people who joined lately, so welcome to the session. And this session is a demo session. Okay, all right. So a little bit about myself. So Karthik here. I done my RHCSA certification and currently working as a platform support engineer in an MNC. With like on day-to-day basis, we handle around almost 10,000 servers, 9,800 servers. It is there. So in both VM as well as physical servers. So yeah, and first and foremost, who are all very new to Linux, or you might have heard this term already. It's a no-brainer. Everyone might have heard it, but like as per your understanding, what is Linux? Let's keep it a bit interactive. Let's see. It can be wrong, guys. Just give a answer here. So my question is, as per your understanding, what is Linux? Linux is an operating system. Okay, that's fine. One second, let me sync my time. That's correct. Any other answers? Anyone? So what Samuel told is absolutely right. So Linux is just another operating system. It's not some rocket science or it's like a very huge thing or a very proprietary one or a very unique one. Nothing like that. To be frank, Windows is a very proprietary thing which is owned by and controlled by Microsoft. Linux is an open source, and what is open source we will see in a moment. But Linux is just another operating system. Do remember that, and we are going to learn as an operating system how, if there is any issues, how to fix it, and how to fix it, and make sure that it's not the same issue doesn't appear again. That's the important thing as a sysadmin. You should think in that way, right? So you should not keep on tinkering or reducing the toil of the existing issues again and again. Hence, it is called as toil. Toil is nothing but like uh, doing a repetitive job, and like you cannot fix it, right? So nothing in the, especially in Linux, nothing is unfixable. For sure, you can fix it, but you should make sure it is prolonged, right? So that's the thing. Okay, coming back to Linux. So it's a open source. What is open source now? Let me open Notepad. So open source, closed source. So the best example for open source is Linux, right? So Linux as an operating system itself is a very good open source, and you have a lot of open source applications out there. So you might have seen VLC media player, right? So why I'm specifically giving VLC is obviously you guys might know the that one, and they literally shared their source code through GitHub. So what is GitHub? Even there is a link between Linux and GitHub. You will see that in a moment. But yeah, so VLC is a very good example. So many softwares out there are open source, but an easy software to relate is VLC and Linux. And for the closed source, you have Mac OS and Windows. The huge monopoly operating systems out there. So Mac OS has their own proprietary softwares, and you cannot simply tamper it and use it in Windows machine, right? So you cannot do that, and vice versa, right? So obviously you have some virtual and some third-party applications, but you cannot literally install an Mac OS software natively through Windows, right? So like that, even though Mac OS backend there is a Linux only, okay? And when it comes to Windows, Windows is like a unique one. So everything is a separate UI, from basic UI to security, and almost everything. It's a totally different from Linux, but the core concept stays the same. Any OS, you should have a disk, you should have a partition in it, you should have a file system. So many things are common, which are a necessity, right? So you cannot skip it. The way it is approached might be different, but you must go through. Okay, so now closed source means if you, let's say, the start menu, right? I go to settings. Uh, okay, it's taking time. So let me go to control panel. Okay, so if you want to change any of these names, let's say I don't use or I won't change the fonts forever. Can I disable this? And disable in the sense it should not even appear here. Can I do that? Actually, no, you cannot do that. If you do also, from the next update, they will install it and it will appear back. Okay, so many did try to uninstall Edge browser. So many want Chrome, like myself. So I'm also a very good, huge Chrome user. So they try to uninstall, even myself. I uninstalled long back, but somehow Edge will be appearing, right? So now I did uninstall, but after a system update or some update, Edge will be installed automatically. Okay, so I cannot escape it. So that's the issue with Microsoft, because they own it and they control your experience. We cannot deny that, and we don't have a choice also. Whereas in Linux, you can tinker and you can make customization, modification, whatnot you can do as per your requirement. That is the like 100%. That is the reason companies use Linux over Windows Windows is also there. I'm not denying that Windows Server is there, but the margin is very less. Okay, so Linux, it's almost, it's kind of a monopoly in enterprise end. So almost 80%, which is insane. Okay, so in terms of enterprise, I'm not talking in day to day or commercial users like us. On enterprise level, Linux is the dominating one, and it's the opposite way in and like a commercial use like us. So Microsoft is the 80 percentage, or sorry, 63 percentage actually is Microsoft Windows OS, right? So whereas this one, it is enterprise. So if I ever mention about enterprise, it's nothing but companies. Okay, so companies uses Linux a lot. End users like us, we use Windows OS a lot, because that is the cheapest one, reliable one. We are kind of introduced to a system via Windows, so that's, we cannot deny it, right? So that's the reason. Obviously, they kind of dominate this market. Okay, but that's the thing: open source and closed source. Okay, so who came up with this Linux? It's just like it's the first thing it came, or how long it's been. So Linux is not the very first operating system. So there used to be Unix. Unix is like a let's say godfather. Okay, and after that you have Minix. Okay, after that Linux and so many other HPUX, IBM AX, and Solaris. So many Unix based operating system are there. Linux is also Unix based operating system, but the first thing what they came up with is a new kernel. Okay, so kernel, as of now, you just remember it like a heart of the system. Okay, so because it does almost everything, which is the kernel. So let me just show you the, okay, this is the video LAN is for the VLC. Let me just show you GitHub of Linus Torvalds. So he's the one who came up with, yeah, this one. Yeah, he's the one who came up with Linux. So his name is Linus Torvalds, hence Linux. Okay, as simple as that. And this is the kernel. So even this kernel is open source. You see how many commits it's been going through. Sorry, it went through, and it's one of the active repository I came across. Okay, so it's been updated every day or every hour. Also, someone might update, and you see, it's not just one guy. I told one guy came up with it, but it's not like only he contributed. You see, almost it's actually growing every day. Okay, so every week you might see some the increase in this number. So even you can contribute if you are very good in these languages. Okay, so but yeah, each and everything here, it's been updated. This is basically the bare metal or a basic kernel. Okay, so it's not a full-fledged OS, it's just the heart of the system. Okay, so on top of this, you can add your own UI or anything, right? So, but this is the basic entity, and I need to show you one more very important site called as DistroWatch. Okay, this is not an official ranking or something, but as per the community. Okay, so Linux is solely driven by a community. Okay, not a community, a lot of communities out there, but Linux as a whole is a community driven operating system. Okay, so you will have a lot of channels, forums, and whatnot, like Discord server, right? So many communities out there. They cumulatively develop, just like the that's the sole reason he came up with this kernel, right? So like even during his time, which is like early 90s, Microsoft was the monopoly at the time also. Okay, so they kind of dominated the PC market as well as the enterprise. So that you cannot avoid them. So nowadays there is a lot of pirated copies and all, but in those days there is no word itself called as piracy, right? So you obviously need to buy the original one, and it is way costly at that time. So he came up with a free solution, which is this one, and it's a very small amount you can donate or you can contribute, right? So for the people who can afford, they can contribute, but that's how he came up with this, and it's kind of revolutionized the entire thing. Okay, and why it's still relevant in IT? That would be your question, right? So obviously there is a lot of distros or the lot of OSs here I mentioned. Even Red Hat you can see here. So why specifically I'm mentioning Red Hat? Again, I'll show you why. So this is 67th place, right? So coming back to this question, so why it's still relevant? Because a lot of technology changes are like throughout the years. There is a lot of changes, a lot of software came in, and kind of a fad it is, right? So it went away. We adopted to a new one, but still Linux is relevant. Why? Because companies kind of owned Linux. So they created their own version of Linux, and almost every company you have, the major companies, Oracle have their own OS, even Amazon have their own image, AMI, right? So any company you take, they have their own version of Linux in it, and it's not just as an OS. Like for IoT devices, you have a Linux one, right? So Raspberry Pi is there. It's a like the default OS for Raspberry Pi is Linux, right? So like that, some basic appliance to enterprise, a very huge uh, computing power, still that Linux is out there. So if you know this, it's not just like just an option for you, it's a necessity. So you must know it, know the choice. Even though if you're a developer, you might log in a Docker container, and Docker is a CLI, right? So you, okay, for the guys who don't know, CLI, GUI, and even TUI is there. So can someone put it in the chat? Obviously, if you many might know this. What is CLI? What is GUI and TUI? So these are all different types of interfaces. Okay. What is CLI? Can someone put it in the chat? Again, it can be wrong, guys. Okay. Okay, perfect. So Ramesh put it. Command line interface, GUI, perfect. Graphical user interface, and TUI is text-based user interface. It's kind of combination of both. There will be a few graphical element, but you cannot interact with it. You need to um, like navigate via keys or keyboard. So text-based user interface. Okay, so these three are the common one. Obviously, these two are the common one. This is like kind of underrated, or you might never see. Very few systems uses this TUI. So, but yeah. So as I told, Docker. Okay, so what is Docker? Also, we'll see later. Maybe today or tomorrow we'll see. So Docker is a container platform. Okay, so in Docker, if you want to do anything, you'll be doing via CLI. CLI is nothing but like obviously you need an operating system to run not only Docker, any applications. You must have a OS as a base, right? So on top of that, only that application can run. Okay? So even Docker, even though it's a container, it needs a basic operating system, which is mostly Linux, right? So on top of Linux only you should run. So the core commands you should know, right? So that's the important thing. So it's a necessity, even though you're a developer on day-to-day basis, you're doing. So even GitHub, right? So you might have seen GitHub. So GitHub is a very common repository many developers use. Underlying Git, you see GitHub CLI, right? So that is again a commands. So if you are familiar with these commands, there are essential commands. We will be discussing that. Without that, you cannot proceed further, right? So you must learn it, and if you learn it now itself, then it is easy for you. And if you're learning it as well as doing a certification, that's way better. If you're starting your career or you're having a break in your career, or you want to, like, let's say your company is forcing you to upskill in your career, RHCSA is a very good certification. We'll come back to that. Okay. So fine. So this is the roadmap. Okay. So firstly, the user management. And not only in Linux case, this is a common theme. Okay. But as per our syllabus, it's Linux is what I'm going to cover. So the user management is the most important one in any operating system, right? So we might take it for granted because we are not used to that. Let's say you are not working in any IT company, you're you mostly might have exposed to only personal computer, and you won't have much users as well. Let's say maybe you create two accounts, right? So one for you, one for your family or guest, maybe, right? That also very rarely we do. We do share our password of our personal system to anyone, right? So like physically, we might have typed it or we might share it, but we don't literally manage the users per se, right? So that's the issue with personal computers. But when it comes to enterprise, obviously I cannot use someone's profile or someone's credentials. That's a violation. I'll be thrown out of the company, right? So that's the reason. User management is one of the crucial department or crucial element in any company you take. You must go through that, no other choice, right? So that's the thing. There's a lot of compliances and so many things are there, policies and all. So we will see how it is approached in a Linux as a Linux admin, how you're going to approach it. We'll be discussing that. And the next one is even more important. Again, we take it for granted, this one, disk management. Why? Because let's say in Windows, do we create multiple partitions? No, right? So even in your Windows server, in your work environment also, you won't create multiple partitions for, let's say, a partition just for that particular application. Maybe you create like that. But in real time, you will put everything in one kind of, you're dumping every information in one partition. And mostly OS and the softwares installed will be in one partition. Mostly it will be like this, two or maybe three or four partitions maximum. But in real time or in Linux especially, it doesn't work like that. There will be a lot of partitions, and you'll be expanding it. So what is expanding? So this is one of the USP Linux still exists. Okay, because in Windows you cannot do it still. Windows servers. So basically, you have to. So in my case, unfortunately, I have only one disk. So just imagine there is one more disk here. Okay, can I combine disk 0 with disk 1? Let's say here disk 1 is there. No, actually, in Windows, natively you cannot combine. Obviously, there is RAID configuration, so many are there, but natively, just like that, you cannot combine. Okay, so you need to use third-party tools, and that might not be reliable. So many things are there. But in Linux, easily within just maybe 5 minutes, you can combine without data loss. That's the key factor. So the third-party softwares which you use in Windows, obviously it will format it. Basically, the entire 200 GB you need to copy it to somewhere, and then only you can combine it. Whereas in Linux, natively, you can expand it, shrink it without losing the data. That's kind of like insane, right? But that's the USB. So obviously, any application or any team will grow, right? So they while the team grows, the data grows or the application grows. So uh, data, like you will keep the data as it is. You'll keep on adding the device disks and expanding the existing partition. Like that, you'll do. Okay. So I might have told so many keywords. We will see extensively those things later. But as of now, understand disk management is one of the key factors for a Linux guy, because you only will have the privilege to do that. No other application team or let's say DB team or backup, no one will have the privilege to do that. Okay. So the next one is the process management. So how well is the process managed in Windows, so you have obviously task manager, and task manager is good. Sometimes it's even great compared to Linux counterpart, but the issue is you don't have, obviously this is an end user or an commercial use system or Windows OS, right? Whereas Windows Server will have few more tools compared to this. And what you're going to actually monitor. So you need to monitor the five core resources. So the core resources are nothing but CPU, memory, GPU, disk, and network. So these five core elements or core resources you're going to monitor. Okay. So so this is one particular system you can easily monitor, right? How about thousands of servers? I just told almost like 10,000 servers are there, 10,000 plus. So in this case, you cannot have 10,000 people working in each server. That is impossible, right? So how it will be? There will be a centralized monitoring tool which will be configured, and there will be a lot of alerts and thresholds set in that tool. And let's say if there is a disk alert or disk spike, all of a sudden the disk usage is spiked to 70 percentage. Okay. So what you will do, you will get an email as an alert, and you can work on that server. So obviously the server name and which partition it is, all of a sudden there is a spike, right? So let's say some user or offshore user, he might have triggered an application and keep on logging every second. There is 1 GB of log, right? So like that, it's keep on running. So obviously the disk will be filled gradually, and once it reaches that threshold, you will get an email as an alert. Right? So you need to figure it out. So like that, this five core resources is what you're going to monitor and fix it. And why I brought that up is the process also. It's a in Windows the process management is good, but in Linux you can do even better, and you can have a customized one, right? So you can literally kill a process as it is. Okay, so yeah, as a system process also you can kill. Okay, in Windows, if you kill, let's say, this process, within not even 2 seconds, it will be appearing back again, because this system needs this process. So without these, it doesn't work. Whereas in Linux, you can even kill these. You can even make sure that this will never start again. Okay, so that much freedom you do have in Linux. Okay, and how if a process fails, and if the process is not starting up, even though you're giving the starting script, why it is not starting? You need to figure out in the logs. So that's what the next thing is, troubleshooting. I just mentioned as generalized server troubleshooting. It's not just server. You'll be troubleshooting many things. So inside the server, like as an application, if why it is not starting, you as a root user. Okay, now what is root user is, as an in Windows you might have heard administrator. Even I am an admin for this system, but in Linux we call it as a root user. So admin. So moving forward, accidentally if I mention admin, it's nothing but a root user. Okay, so literally, as a root user, you will be having the full privilege to see the logs of any team or anyone. Okay, so just imagine root as the only privileged user out there, and he can do whatever he wants. Like in real time, let's say there is no restriction for that user. He can go inside any home or any place, no restriction whatsoever. Okay, so like that. So that much privilege the root user have, and you will be the one having that. Okay, so root user access as a sysadmin. So you literally have all the privileges, but obviously you'll be constrained to do only certain tasks because everything is monitored. Without your consent, it will be monitoring the logs. So whatever action you're doing in the system will be logged each and every second. It will be logged. Okay, so you cannot do some, let's say, since I have the privilege, I can reboot and I can play the system. You cannot do that, obviously. But yeah, you do have the privilege to do all that, all of those, right? So yeah. So yeah, coming back to the troubleshooting part. So you need to let's say if there is any issue. For example, the server is keep on rebooting. Why? You need to figure it out, right? So you need to fetch the respective logs and figure it out and make sure it's not appearing again. That's the a very good practice, and you need to like fix it and even instruct it to the your colleagues, right? So you'll be adding it to the knowledge base. So like that, you'll be doing on day-to-day basis, like very unique issues you might encounter. So which your colleague might not, right? So that's the reason you will do all those on day-to-day basis. You will do these, okay? And the last one is the basic networking. So why I specifically mention as basic, because networking itself is a separate subject. Okay, you can even do a degree just for networking. That much huge of a subject it is. So that's the reason I just mentioned for a sysadmin, the knowledge of networking, how much we are going to see. That's what it will be covered as part of the syllabus. Okay, now, so why RHCSA? But before that, what is Red Hat? Okay, so does anyone have any idea about Red Hat before? Have you heard Red Hat as a company? Let me load their official site. So you might have seen this same link. I will even give this link in the chat. Okay, so give this link. So as per this link, Red Hat is ranked way low, like 67th place. But Red Hat kind of dominates the enterprise market. So this ranking on this site is basically community driven. Okay, so you should not take, okay, then Mint or this Cache OS is the first one and this is the best OS out there. No, this is based on users ranking. But in general, enterprise, they prefer Red Hat. Okay, Ubuntu is there. CentOS was there, not anymore. Okay, OpenSUSE, like that. Very few operating systems or flavors of operating system, right? So these are all called as flavors and distributions. In short, it is called as distros. Okay, it is actually distributions. Okay, so yeah. So coming back to Red Hat. So Red Hat is a very huge MNC nowadays, but in those days, like in late 90s, so once Linux is kind of taking off, Linux is kind of a startup in that day, let's say. Okay, at that time, there are so many companies like Red Hat, but uh, very few was actually sustained, including Red Hat. Why? Because they had a very good vision and very good support. If something went wrong, easily you can reach out to the Red Hat support team than some other like their competitors, right? So that's the reason they are still existing, and they're under IBM's belt. Okay, so IBM actually owns Red Hat. They bought it like 4 to 5 years back. So yeah, and if you see the product line, Red Hat, they have almost everything. Okay, so if you see, sorry, not services. Um, okay. Yeah, you see cloud. So AI cloud is there. They have their, this is the actual OS, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. They have OpenShift and their own cloud provider. They themselves as a cloud provider, OCP you can use, OpenShift Cloud Platform. You might have heard Ansible. Ansible is actually owned by Red Hat. Okay, so the majority part is owned by Red Hat. And yeah, if you see all the products, you see it's a very huge list. Okay, so there is a specialized one for virtualization, cloud services, right? So automation for Ansible and all. JBoss, you might have heard JBoss. So all those are, yeah, JBoss. And so many products are there under Red Hat's belt. Okay. So why specifically Red Hat certification? Why can't we do? There are so many certifications out there. Let's say certs, like you have LFCS, so Linux Foundation Certified System Engineer, LFCS, COM, TIA plus is also there, and you have few more actually. But why RHCSA stands out of anything? Why? Because firstly, Red Hat is the operating system companies use. So they get an affirmation that, okay, you know something in Red Hat. You are not very new to that. Let's say you're joining a company as a fresher, even you can do a RHCSA certification. So they will get an kind of an acknowledgement or an affirmation that, okay, you know something about it. Okay. So because RHCSA it's a kind of a certificate which covers almost every basic thing, basic and intermediate level. Okay. So you're almost good with that, but you need some more advanced knowledge. So obviously, once you are hired, you will be trained on that. But this is a very good starting point for your career. And why this is way better than, let's say, developers, I will let you know at last. Okay. But yeah, so RHCSA certificate, and this is the exams code EX200. And this certificate cost and everything will maybe see tomorrow, because today it will be taking a bit time. So, but as of now, in USD, it is like 400 USD, I think. It's a bit costly in US or any other country, but in India, it is around 21K INR. Okay. So, as a including GST. So, GST is like 18 percentage. So, the actual exam cost is around maybe 16 to 18K. The remaining is literally the GST. Okay. But totally it is 21K for the exam. And I highly recommend you to do this exam because we will be seeing almost everything related to that exam. And if you do it for, let's say you're starting a career with Red Hat, sorry, starting a career as a sysadmin, this is a very good starting point, and it will kind of enhance your resume. Okay, a very good point. It will be right. So yeah, I'll quickly go through the syllabus part. The same thing what I told will be mentioned over here. Okay. So firstly, tomorrow we'll be seeing the intro to that operating system and what are all the essential commands. So you might have already, I did explain few, but you might have heard like Linux is all about commands. But yes, the basic navigation. So in Windows, you can go to the file explorer like pressing Windows and E, right? So in your keyboard. Whereas in Linux, you cannot do that. Okay, so you are in a CLI environment. So you need to do or go to a path by giving that path only. So CD slash or CD slash home, let's say. So like this only you are supposed to go. Okay. So it's now you might ask, okay, even a simple task, it will take time if you type. Actually, no. This is way effective than GUI. Okay. And in terms of your system resource, it doesn't need to load all this graphical element, right? So when it comes to GUI, as the name suggests, literally everything is graphical. You see, there is a lot of icons, right? Obviously, it is for your understanding only. Right away, even though this text is not shown, you can, if there is a gear icon, you can see, or you might have an understanding that, okay, this might be settings like that. This is a PC like that, right? So whereas it's good for as an end user, but when it comes to enterprise, there is no need for this UI, right? So the servers are not meant for that. The server, so basically, what as a, let's say, company's director, what he will think as the entire system's performance should go to that application. It should not waste in these kind of uh, special as per the enterprise. It is kind of a special thing, right? So these are all unwanted kind of entities, you can call it, right? So there is no need for it because you will do a specific task or an application you will be running. There is no need to load any of this UI, right? So that's the reason it won't be loaded. So that's the reason it will be literally commands, or it will be like this. If you open command prompt like this, that's it. What if your whole Windows machine is like this? You can even do that in system configuration. If you go to system configure, boot, no GUI boot, if I click on apply and reboot, literally my entire system will look like this until I revert it back. Okay, so just imagine it like that. Okay, so that's how your Linux machine will be. It is way easier actually compared to your uh, Windows. Okay. So, and by the way, there is a lot of commands. So by default, we'll be encountering in the system, there will be at least 2000 plus commands there. And it's not just commands. Within that, you have so many options also. So, but in terms of our batch or our sessions, we'll be going through at least 100 to 150 commands we'll be discussing. Okay, at least 100 commands. Okay. Right. So the next thing is the installation of the operating system RHEL 8 I mentioned. So actually in your exam you'll be appearing for RHEL 9, and there is not much difference between RHEL 8 and 9. Okay, and RHEL 8 is a very mature one. If there is any issues also you can fetch it online. RHEL 9 has also been there for a few years, but still there is not much. There is few issues you might face in VMware, especially if you install RHEL 9. Many users previous batches faced, so that's the reason. I recommend RHEL 8 and I even provide the ISO, so you need not worry about that. Okay, so I'll be showing in maybe tomorrow or day after how to install it in your system. And for the people who don't want to install or you are having your company's laptop only, for them AWS or cloud is the only choice, right? So yeah, I'll be showing you how to initiate an AWS EC2 instance. Okay. And next thing is the performance monitoring. So this is what the monitoring tool. So you have a lot of monitoring tools out there. So right, so it's Grafana, Zabbix, and Splunk for log monitoring, Dynatrace for APM monitoring, application process monitoring. So many are there. Okay, so sorry, application performance monitoring. This Dynatrace. So it's a very huge list. Okay, so there is around 40 to 50 softwares out there in real time. Many companies use it. So it's not like every software you should know. Just the basic thing. Every software, what is the basic core principle is to schedule an alert, right? So you firstly you will create an alert and you will be scheduling an let's say every day or so there will be health check, right? And you will be setting up the alert mechanism and monitoring it, the dashboard. Obviously, the dashboard must be set. So, yeah, the core principles 4 or 5 will be there. So, just the UI will differ, but the core principle stays the same throughout all the tools. Okay. So, I will try to upload one of the tool, uh, like basic blog maybe, because obviously these tools actually you cannot get the like full lectures or tutorials even in YouTube or anywhere. Dynatrace, Splunk, it is there. It might be outdated or you won't get the exact one. Obviously, you can go through the official site. That's there, but still, in a real-time scenario, you very hardly get it. Okay, so I will try to find and I will upload it in the. There is a common Google Drive link. I will share it. Okay, so in that I will upload it. But yeah, at least one tool you should know. Just ignore everything. Just learn, let's say, Grafana. Okay, so yeah, fine. So the next thing is the user management. As I told, the like there is multiple users are there. So one is local user, one is Active Directory user. How you will manage both, right? So many concepts are there, and we'll be discussing all those. Okay, and how to configure a super user means privileged user. It's not just root user only can do whatever he want. We should also add. You should also add one more sysadmin team, right? So like that, or we should have application team who can do very less operation. That is an important thing. You should not allow any team to run anything, right? So uh, uh, yeah, basic commands also you should monitor it, and you should even restrict. So all those we'll be doing in this one, the basic OS concept. So firstly, the bare minimum, right? So if you want to search for a text, so some basics will be going, guys. Okay, so in many tutorials, right away they will try to spin up a AWS instance. We don't do that. Okay, so from basic, how it is done, right? So obviously the sessions will be a bit long, but the end goal is you should remember it forever. Okay, because you will be encountering these servers for in your IT journey. For sure, you will be encountering any one Linux variant, right? It can be RHEL, Ubuntu, it doesn't matter. So you should remember these commands and operations. Whatever we are doing, you should remember it. Okay, that's the end goal here. Okay. Fine. So understanding the each and every basic tools like copy, remove, move, the can do like move, copy a file from one server to another, right? So manipulating multiple files and directories, right? So all these you'll be doing these are all basic tasks. As I said, you must do these. Okay. So that one, create hard link, soft link, file permissions, which is one of an important thing. And like in Windows, you might have not done it. Here it is an important thing you must do. Okay. So why I'm bringing up Windows again and again, because easily you can relate it with, because you are used to Windows. So yeah, and the basic system admin activities like the system booting process. So you might have heard some interview questions, like thinking you know Linux before. You might have came across a sysadmin important round one question is, what is the booting procedure, right? So why that is an important question is because without knowing that, and even today I came across a server where the hardware was failed, and it went to kernel, but it didn't boot it further. So something in between got failed while booting. So which hardware got failed or which log to check. So you need to know the actual booting process. So once you press the power button, till you see the lock screen, what happens in between in your laptop. And by the way, 90% of the same booting process is what in your Windows machine also you'll see. Okay, so we'll go through that. The very next session, it will be booting process only. So we'll go through that. And if you interrupt, how to figure it out, what are all the logs you will check, and very few only you can check in that emergency mode. So what and all is possible, everything we'll discuss. Okay, and how to identify that if there is any spike. Natively, there are few monitoring tools. How to use that and kill the process. How to find the RCA. You might have come across this term a lot. RCA means root cause analysis, and you might end up in postmortem calls. So what that means is postmortem in the sense once the issue is fully fixed, and let's say the application team or any other team gave a green light and it's been running for a few hours, then everyone will gather in a call and figure out why that issue happened. So they'll take note down all the timelines and figure out when it happened. So by fetching the monitoring tools, old logs, by analyzing the trend in the monitoring tool, so many things they'll do. to figure out why it got why at that particular time what happened, right? So that's what postmortem called, and same thing goes for RC. So you need to figure out why it happened to avoid it further. First, the business should run 24 bar 7, right? So just imagine you are running a shop, and all of a sudden there is a power cut. Okay, just 5 minutes power cut is fine, but what if the power cut is there for 5 days? That's a huge loss for you, right? It can be any shop. So if there is no power, you cannot do almost anything nowadays, right? So that's how it is. So you need to figure out and fix it ASAP. So and once you fixed it, it should not happen again. So you should do a preventive measure. So that's what you are doing here. So yeah. And the okay, these are all basic things: managing tuning profiles, and this is an important one. How to analyze a log file is a skill actually. Okay, so as a sysadmin, you must know to find where to find the log file and which log file to analyze, and whether it is a legit log or not, or legit alert or not. Okay, so we will be discussing those things extensively later. And the next thing is like start, stop, check, like again manipulating the services. What are all the things you can do based on any service? Okay, so I just mentioned a system service. It means any service, not just system. You can even see for application team also. And how to transfer a file between different servers. We'll be obviously seeing that. And the next one is the LVM, or the disk management concept. So like as I told before, you can natively increase the file system size or the partition size without formatting, right? So that's what LVM, logical volume management, the full form of LVM. And underlying there are volume groups. Sorry, firstly physical volume, volume group, and logical volume. So these three are like a hierarchy. So you'll be creating it, and extensively you'll be working on this one on weekday, mostly on weekends you will be doing, because you'll be extending the file system or the mount points for that particular production application and all. Okay, so for the weekend only, production application will go through a maintenance. So that's the reason. On weekends or non-business hours, you'll be working a lot on this kind of disk management. Okay. And the next one is the file system types, how to format it. If it is not formatting, how to fix it, right? So all those we'll be discussing here. And strategies and video. So this is like an advanced version of same LVM, but it has one more layer of concept. We'll be discussing that. And this is part of the exam also, strategies and video. Okay. And the security aspect. So so in our handheld, like let's say your mobile, so the very first thing is look for is the security. And even in the Android or iOS, first thing they ask is the passcode or pin or pattern lock, or what else, fingerprint, right? So face unlock. So many security is what defines an operating system. If let's say the face unlock is disabled on one operating system, and you need that badly, right? So you might not use that operating system, as simple as that, right? So security actually defines or determines whether you use that operating system, how important it is, right? So obviously you guys might have heard like Linux is way secure than any other operating system, especially way secure than Windows. Okay, Windows is prone to especially malware attack, and a very huge cyber attack and all. Windows is very prone to that, and there is even on while I'm speaking, there might be some attack out there. Someone might have doing a brute force attack or some attack to a cyber attack, right? So the point is, the irony here is people use Linux to build these tools for build these malware tools to attack the Windows machines. So that's how using Kali Linux. You might have heard Kali Linux for penetration testing and all, right? So like that. The point I'm trying to make is Linux is way secure. It's secure so much that it is used to build unsecure applications. Okay, and like that. Okay, so many are there, and straight away, like let's say if you're accessing something, you don't have access to that, right away it will deny it. Okay, so many things are like that. So almost everything is owned only by root. That only is an important term. So no one except root can access it. So yeah. Okay. So the firewall. So firewall. There's a system level firewall. There's a physical in network layer firewall. Right. So how it is done. All those we'll discuss. And the permissions, if there is any issues, how to figure it out. Right. So SC Linux is security enhanced Linux. Right. So all those will be discussing, restricting an user to run set of commands, and he can only go to certain paths. Okay, so which is called as jailed user. We'll be discussing all those concepts. As I told, basic networking, how to configure a static IP, host name, and how to make a network service start by itself along with the OS, and like adding a route. Right, so basic commands we'll discuss. And lastly is the containers. So I just told a while back Docker, right? So actually there is a counterpart of Docker is Podman, or a competitor we can call it. So Podman, almost like 90% it is Docker only. Okay. So there are few changes which we will discuss while we come to this topic. But yeah, we'll be discussing Podman, which is part of the exam also. Okay. And the last one is the VMware vSphere. So VMware Workstation you might have heard, but what is vSphere? So this is what actually will be used in the like a work environment or enterprise. So why? Because VMware Workstation is meant for commercial use. vSphere has a lot of like features, as well as you'll be installing as an OS. VMware vSphere ESXi itself is an OS by VMware company. So yeah, you'll be seeing a basic understanding of what it is at last. Okay, so that's pretty much part of the syllabus. Literally, once you're done with the batch, you can appear for the RHCSA exam and you can clear it. Okay, so and many did clear before, so that's the thing. And just let me give this in the chat. So this is the Linux resource for our batch. So anything related to our course will be uploaded here as a document or recording, anything. Okay. And this is the question paper, RHCSA Q. This is the question paper, which is not the latest, but it covers almost everything. So if you prepare for this, you see disk management. These are all disk management. This is container question. Whatever topics we discuss now, it will be part of this. You see archive, right? So the basic grep, find, the basic essential commands. This is permission, right? So you're getting the point, right? So literally, once you're done with the batch, you can appear for the exam. So AutoFS is uh, file system, NFS, right? And NTP is your time, system time, and permissions, job scheduler, like that. Almost everything will be covered, part of the syllabus. By the way, it's an necessity, guys. So that's the thing I'm kind of the kind of emphasizing again and again, because you must know it, no other choice these days. So yeah, is there any doubts, anyone, on this syllabus part? And the batch is paid one. It's around 4,720 INR or 57 US dollars, and the duration is of 4 weeks. It's a minimum of 4 weeks of content is there. Maximum we can go as much as we want as per your doubts. I need to make it interactive. I will make sure it should be an interactive one. But as per your doubts, let's say you want me to explain one topic like twice or even thrice, I can explain it for sure, but it will increase the duration, obviously, right? So that's the thing. And the timing cannot be changed, guys. So it will be from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. Okay. So please don't mind if I'm joining, like, let's say 5 minutes late. So yeah. Any doubts on the batch? And I told I will explain the difference between, let's say you're a Python developer, or you're planning for a Python developer course, which is of the course itself is of minimum 6 months. After that, right away you won't be a job ready applicant. Okay, so you will be you need to practice. So that will be at least 3 months. Okay, and after that, the interviews you can appear, but the issue is there is a huge competition out there. You will be kind of outskilled, right? So you need to again practice for the interviews at least 2 months. So at least 1+ year. This is a very nominal timing only I'm giving. So it will be much more than that. At least 1 year or 1.5 years you need to spend in order to crack the Python role. Let's say a Python SDE role. Whereas um, as a Linux guy, so let me take a Linux only. So Linux admin, the same thing. You're starting your career again. Okay. So for Linux, maximum it will be 3 months. Again, maximum only it is 3 months, and let's say 1 month for job interview and 1 month for, let's say, certification. You're planning to do certification for sure. This is 1 month you will spend for certificate or for job interviews, interview preparation. Right. So after that, for sure, that's it. Okay. So you are kind of uh, like you're having, or you'll be joining the company almost like 8 to 10 months before a guy who chooses Python's path. And you're not just like working, you'll be working just as a Linux admin forever. No. So the career trajectory will be like Linux admin. After that, system admin L2. Okay, so L2 sysadmin means you'll be a senior. And next thing is DevOps guy. So DevOps engineer. And the next one is SRE, site reliability engineer. And in between, you can even mention platform engineer, like what I do. So I kind of manage both Linux as well as an application. Okay, as well as DB. So it's like entire thing cumulatively called as a platform. The entire platform I will be managing. Similar to, let's say, your AWS is a platform which hosts almost many things. So what if you are managing the entire AWS itself? So that's what called as platform engineer. You will be eligible for that. So these are all in the timeline of 2 years difference between each and every role. Sorry, Linux admin from 0 to 2 years, you'll be as a Linux guy, and from 3 to 5 years you can become as a L2 level for a DevOps. Again, 4 to 8 years you can become or be as a DevOps engineer. Means I just generalized it. You can even become as a senior DevOps guy, right? So like that, so many roles are there. Depends on the company, but generically I mentioned. And here also 6 to 10 years. SRE is 10+ years for sure. These are all your. This is how your career will be. And one more doubt many will ask is, what is the salary difference between a like a programming guy versus sysadmin? So to be frank, there is not much difference, and you'll be earning even more if you upskill and you are jumping companies first thing. Obviously, in any company, if you jump a lot, you will earn a lot. But the point is, you will learn a lot of tools here. It will be very interesting one. Whereas here, you are kind of stuck in one thing. Obviously, you have a lot of frameworks like Python based Django, and so many frameworks are there. The point I'm trying to make is The baseline is Python, but here the baseline is Linux. Still, you can be there is like you can be specialized in one particular thing or many tools. You have a very interesting role here compared to Python. And by the way, now this AI is kind of dominating. The sysadmin role is the one which is avoided by AI. AI cannot replicate sysadmin role forever because it can suggest, okay, this will be the best practice, but at the end, it's your call. You need to figure it out. And um, by the way, you like AI boom actually created a lot of sysadmin roles because AI is hosted on a server. Obviously, not one server, right? So AI itself is like like millions of servers are there. Those many jobs are needed. So the point I'm trying to make is Linux admin is the only role which is not affected by AI. Not just Linux admin, administrator in general. Okay. So yeah. Whereas Python or any SDE roles, right? It is very hard. You need to do a lot of things just to crack uh, a job or crack an interview. So whereas this route is way easier, right? Anyone? Any doubts in this? Do let me know. Yeah, you can see yourself appearing for interviews. And this role, sorry, this batch is not an advanced one. Obviously, from the syllabus itself, we can figure it out. It is for the people who start their career. And if you're already working as a sysadmin for past, let's say, 3 years, this will be like a brush up for you because you'll be seeing basic and intermediate level, no advanced topics. Okay, so yeah, no Ansible, nothing. But monitoring, I will try to cover. VMware also, there is one issue with VMware is it's a very huge tool. Okay, so it's like a 150 GB of disk space it needs. But I will try to install and I will show you. But you cannot practice this on your system. It will be very slow. Okay, so that's the one drawback of vSphere. But yeah, I will show you. Don't worry. But still, that's the drawback of vSphere. Okay, so all right. Let me send you or show you the portal. Yeah. So this is the portal link. So please go through the previous recordings and if you're fine with my way of approach, please do join the batch. Okay. So yeah, guys, then it's already late for me and sorry for extending the session for almost 15 minutes. Is there any doubts? I will call. Okay. If there is no doubts, thanks all. Let's see tomorrow at the same time. Okay. Thank you guys then. Have a good day. Bye bye.